Are you not a Muslim?
No.
You sure?
I'm born in Lebanon
Okay.
in a Maronite community.
You're what? Sorry?
Maronite. It's a
Okay.
subsection of Catholics. We do look Arab though, but no, we are Christians.
No problem. No issues. Okay. So how can I help you? Go ahead.
So I have a lot of friends who are Muslim. Lebanon is a very ethnically and religiously mixed country. I have a lot of back and forth with them. I have been watching your videos lately, and they're pretty convincing. So I have a couple of questions with regard to Islam.
No problem.
If you don't mind me asking.
Absolutely no problem.
Okay, so I follow a couple of, I think you know Rabbi Tovia.
No.
Tovia Singer.
Tovia Singer, yes.
Yes. So I watch a lot of his content, and he speaks very highly of Islam, and I find that very interesting. Now, as you know, in the Bible, God is referred to in a number of names, especially in the Old Testament. He's referred to as Hashem, Elohim, Adonai, Yahweh, all of these names. In Lebanon, we all refer to God as Allah. That's a pretty uniform thing. But are these names allowed in Islam?
Well, we believe the names and attributes of Allah are tawqifiyya, meaning that they are based on the Qur'an and Sunnah. If they're not present in the Qur'an and Sunnah, then we do not accept that as a name of Allah. But we allow the possibility that this could be a name of Allah, because Allah did not inform us of all of His names, which means that there is a possibility that this was revealed in the past. But as long as we don't have a confirmation in the Qur'an or the Sunnah, because if you read Hebrew, you'll find Al Shaddai, Al Shaddad, for example, Al Shaddai, Al Shaddad. So you'll find some names that are very closer in their pronunciation with the Arabic language and meaning many of the time, because they're all Semitic languages as well. It will be some of the names and attributes that actually we have in Islam. But if a name we don't have in Islam, we don't say that that's the name of Allah, or we don't say it's not. But we're not going to call Allah that unless we've got it mentioned in the Quran and Hadith.
So the way that Jesus refers to God as Abi Allah.
How do you know which way that Jesus referred to God?
In Arabic Bible.
Why, he didn't speak Arabic?
No.
He spoke Aramaic. Do you know what's the word for God in Aramaic?
Allah.
That's why he said.
Okay, but within our community, God is referred to as Allah. Part of the triune God. Yeah, Al-Ab.
Al-Ab, yeah. No, Al-Ab wal-Ibn wa Ruh al-Qudus is a different story. But we're saying the term for God is Allah, still in the Bible. Point is, you mentioned
that, but
but you mentioned Jesus. The point is, Jesus called God Allah. That's why he called God. So this is always, because you mentioned him, why he would call God. This is why he called God. It's the same thing that we call God.
So the idea of referring to God as the Father is not permissible.
No, absolutely not. Because it insinuates that he has a son, and a son is not befitting the majesty.
Not even like in a semantic sense.
No, not in any sense.
Literally.
Not under any circumstance. You could have a good meaning but use a wrong term. Just because you have a good meaning, that does not invalidate the terms that you use. You could have a good intention and call someone something disrespectful in a country. You're still being disrespectful towards that person, even if you have a good intention. So when you attribute deficiency to God, it's irrelevant what your intention is, because it's deficiency.
Okay. Okay, I have a final question here. It relates to the Islamic concept of qada and qadar. Now, somebody tried to explain it to me. Basically, attempting to reconcile between.
I don't attempt to save you time. To save you time, I don't attempt to do so. We believe that's in the realm of Allah. Al-qadaru sirrullahi fi khalqih. That's what we say. Okay? Al-qadaru sirrullahi fi khalqih. And the Christians, they have 3 schools of thought as well. Same thing, like a libertarian, like deterministic and compatibilistic, So either way, this idea, whether you're Muslim or not, you're atheist, or you're like this discussion has been there since the beginning of time. I'm not going to finish it today by giving you that,
But how do you reconcile that as a Muslim? How do you live your
life? I believe that if Allah told me everything is written and He knows it, then it is true, because the Quran is true. And if Allah told me I'm choosing, and I know intuitively that I'm choosing, I don't need to reconcile anything. That's the reality. Just because I cannot rationally put it in words does not mean it's false or incorrect.
Okay. Yeah, I guess those are my questions. So thank you for the answers, I guess.
No problem. So do you consider yourself Christian now?
The thing is that the messaging of the church never really made sense to me.
Okay.
In the sense that intuitively, I've always thought of God as just one entity, like the idea of like it might seem weird, but I didn't discover the whole Trinitarian idea until way later on in my life, because my family isn't particularly religious in that sense. But I did find myself in a lot of Christian, I had a lot of very religious friends, and they started to explain to me certain concepts, and within that, the Trinity, and I was like, oh, so that's what we believe in. And I didn't like the idea.
They must be geniuses if they're able to explain the Trinity for you, because
They didn't. I even tried to help them in explaining it to me.
Yes.
I was like, okay, so like we can think of God as like a body of water, and that the water is split from the whole, but technically it's part of the. You can try to provide a naturalistic or a physical interpretation of it, but it will never work. And they try to use the whole egg metaphor.
Shell and yolk.
Shell, yolk, and so after looking, I even bought myself a Qur'an. It's powerful stuff, but I don't know how to deal with the ramifications of something like converting.
In the country or in the afterlife? Which one? In the country, the family, you mean?
In the country, yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Well, this is the thing.
It's a very heated area especially where I live. People don't really like each other, let's say. You're either, it's very tribalistic. You're either this or that or the other.
And there's too many different things as well.
Too many.
I know, so many.
I can begin to count them. Yeah. Yeah, like even within the Christian community, you have the Romans, the Rome,
yes,
the Maronites,
Catholics, Protestants, and all of that. Yes.
Protestants, not have a lot of Protestants. Within the Muslims, we have the Alawiyya. We have the Sunnis, the Shia. We have Druze, but they're not technically Muslim.
And even the Alawis are not Muslim.
Yeah, the Alawis are not. They, I think, worship.
They have a trinity of their own.
They have a trinity
of their own. Anyways, you don't need to get into it. But the point is, look, why do you need other people to know your personal faith?
I feel like if something like religion is best practiced in a community.
True.
Best practice when people know who you are. And I don't think I would shy away from something like that, in the sense that I like people knowing what I identify as, which is why I'm in this sort of limbo where I don't necessarily identify with Christianity, but at the same time, there are certain questions that I would have liked to have been answered. I had a few experiences that, especially when I was thinking about the concept of qada and qadar, particularly because I studied a lot of philosophy in my life, and determinism or Hegelian dialectics and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But when I try to reconcile these ideas, it almost feels like two incompatible ideas. But at the same time, I kind of do get it. If God is all-knowing and He knows me and He knows why I would make a certain
No, it's just look. There's an assumption in philosophy that the human mind is equal to God. You assume that you can understand everything.
No, God knows my mind. God knows.
No, it's not about God. No. You've not got what I said. I'm saying it's an assumption that through your mind you can understand everything. Once you remove that assumption, is that now we cannot, just our mind has a limit, just like our eyesight has a limit, just like our hearing has a limit. Why do you assume that the mind is that thing which can understand everything through rational A, B, C, D? The mind has a limit as well. Yeah.
As I watched your videos, you say that God gave us the special benefit of us having free will, that the other creation does not have this free will, angels.
Yeah, I don't say free will, but choice to choose. Yes, Allah has given us a choice to choose, but you have a choice to choose. But what you're doing is, look, there's a difference between the theoretical sophistry, if I would call it sophistry to do with qada and qadar. There's a difference between theoretical sophistry and reality. In reality, you're choosing. Whoever tells you, and intuitively, you're talking to me now by choice. You can click this or that. I can click remove. It. So it's irrelevant what people tell you.
Yes and no. I wanted to talk to you. I opened up YouTube.
So you chose. So you chose to do it.
Yeah. So there is the hand of God definitely intervened.
But putting the chance, putting the chance in front of you. But then it's your choice to act upon the chance or not. And you did
the
act
thing that
upon
I'm
the
trying to
chance.
understand. That's the whole concept, basically.
Yeah,
Because I
absolutely.
can
That's why I
relate
said,
this idea to a lot of experiences that I've had throughout my life, where the hand of God, I could feel God intervening, making
yes.
sure that I could make a choice that I would have liked to make, but I just couldn't within the circumstances that I had. God created circumstances that allowed me to make this choice, and based on that, I was able to make the choice that He knows that I was going to do anyway. If we
That's why
want
I
to
said
make
to
the
you,
assumption.
I say usually it's not, I don't use the term free will because
Mm.
it's not really free. There are chances that Allah puts in front of you. You're born based, you didn't choose where you're going to be born, how you're going to look like, what region you're going to. All of these things can have influences, but still is your choice in the end, in the math. That's why everyone's test is different. Your test is different than my test, than everyone else's test, right? But in the end, it's nothing you cannot bear and nothing unjust. And that's the interesting thing, right?
One of the favorite verses in the Quran that I read stuck in my head. Something, I'm not sure of the correct wording, but
No worry.
something like ما يحمل الله نفسا إلا ما في وسعها.
Yes. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. The end of chapter 2 of the Quran. Yes. That's why Surah Al-Baqarah. That's why you're very lucky because you're able to read the Quran. You will have a sense.
That is something like because when I was exploring Islam and people were telling me that all the Qurans are identical, I was like, what? It's a very particular point.
Yeah, but there's a different readings of the Quran. It's different recitations of the Quran.
I know, but like I bought one, and I also started going to Muslim households, and they have Quran, and I compare the text, and it's the same. The what do they call it? Yeah, the recitations are different.
Yes, والضحى and إمالا and all of these.
Essentially, they're identical.
Yes,
completely different from the story on our end.
Yes.
The Bible I have, for example, I bought it from a bookstore.
Yeah.
But when I went to another place to get another copy, I started comparing them. I didn't even go into the whole King James International Version. I don't know. I just went to a bookstore. You have an Injil? أعطيني الإنجيل. So I took the Bible that I have. I compared it to that. I was like, okay, so there are different words, and did they convey the same meaning? No. That's what really horrified me, especially once you talk to a lot of Christians in the West, and that's a whole different other story. English translations, and this was removed, and this was added. Completely mind-boggling. And this is not an issue in Islam. I saw a research by some institute. They paid like 2 million euros to make sure that the Quran truly is preserved, and the researcher is secular.
There are many people. Yeah, there are many people who did that. Like I can mention many names of people who went and they done their investigation. Like Angelica Nuret, for example, she's completely secular. Yeah, you've got many people. There's another woman. I put her in one of my videos, by the way. There's a Sikh video of me and a Sikh talking, and I put the names of all of those like researchers or not Muslims who come to the conclusion that the Quran is preserved. But it's very interesting that you're saying that, because a lot of people can see that. You got an Arab now who's not a Muslim who can give you this testimony, because a lot of people are not sincere. They try to make it seem as if it's just a different translation. No, my friend, it's not a different translation. It's different words, and I always get frustrated.
Different story. Like the story about Jesus when he said the English version is he who. It's about casting the first stone at the
yes. In chapter 7 of John.
And then I watched your video, and you said the entire part. I don't know if it's your video was added later on.
My video. Yes.
This was, I guess. I was like, what? This is like a cornerstone of the religion.
That because they keep using in the church, isn't it? Like. Yes. That's true.
Like, we're not like the whole refutation about the Muslims stone people all the time. Okay, and we, Jesus told us.
Let the one who doesn't have the sin
shall pass the first stone.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so that's a very clear difference if you want to take the story as factual.
Mm-hmm.
After I did that and I checked it on top of that, yes, I did read the footnotes and put it. Yep, this is not in the original or in the older versions of the Bible, and it is
That's the thing. Everyone can check. This is the age of the internet. No one anymore can be in the church and no one can force people to be in a church and not know the truth and this and that, or don't ask questions. You cannot do that anymore. Now the internet is open. That's why Islam is the fastest growing religion, because it's an open place now. Now everyone can investigate anything, study anything, and know anything, and they will eventually come to the fact that Islam is the truth, and then adopt it if they are sincere and honest individuals. But you probably have seen on my videos how many people who come and they try, even though how much evidence you give them as Christians, they say, no, it's still the same. Brother, like, friend, listen, it's not me, it's the NIV saying this. Like, no, it's still the same. Okay, like, it's blind,
like looking at things in a very objective manner. If I see a mistake, I will point it out. I don't care if it's my religion, somebody else's religion. I like looking at the facts. But this is life and death. This is akhirah, dunya. You know, people are going to heaven and hell based on this information.
Absolutely.
It's not something that I play around with.
True.
It's not personal.
Yes.
So
everyone watching should know it's not personal. So don't take it personally if you're a Christian.
People are born into certain identities, and the thing is, if I try to sort of have a discussion with my Christian friends, and they a lot of them have made it their identity that they are Christians. A lot of them traveled outside of Lebanon. They are currently in Europe, Eastern Europe, big Christian places, very nice churches, cathedrals. Mashallah. But at the same time, when I talk to them, their Christianity is so ingrained in their identity. When I discuss these points with them, they take it as a personal attack. I can't talk to them back. I decided to talk to a Muslim who is, as far as I can tell, maybe a bit biased towards pointing me towards his team, but at least would be objective in pointing out the issues in my belief. So
it's interesting. Look, it's interesting as well that you say churches and you say mashallah, and most people, they don't know that, like, it's a normal thing for an Arab Christian or otherwise to say these words, use this word, inshallah, mashallah. It's all Arabic words that have a correct meaning, a good meaning, and then Arab would all usually say them, because you get some people who try to disqualify you as a Christian just because you are from the Middle East. They'll say this guy is if you're a Christian.
If anything, we are the closest lands to where Jesus lived, Bethlehem.
Exactly, that's the truth. Now they don't understand this. They think Jesus was a white man who's spoken in Europe, in Europe somewhere.
We live in reality. We're here in the Middle East. We live in reality. We don't live in where the white, blue eyes, blonde.
La La Land.
Yes. We don't believe in any of that. Alhamdulillah. So it's definitely a privilege, though. The thing that you point out is that I do speak Arabic, and therefore I can read the Quran. A lot of reverts in the West do not have that privilege, and you can see it. You can see the pain, Like when I talk to my friends here in Lebanon.
No, but the thing is, look, we're talking now in which language?
English.
English. me and you both are Arabs, right? So there is no deterrent for someone to learn a language. Look, I've learned like many languages. To claim that you cannot, it's all based on the amount of effort you will put in. I know many reavers, they become Muslim. They travel, they go to Medina. Some people, they travel just to learn. There are many of them online. They speak Arabic, fluent Arabic. There are professors in universities, reverts, that speak fluent Arabic better than Arabs. Right? They speak Fusha properly with all the grammatical rules and all of that. They pronounce it better because they spend their time learning. So I understand what you're saying. Of course, they don't have the same privileges that you do speak. That's why I mentioned it to you, that you can understand the beauty of the Quran as well and how it is different from any other scripture, whatever it is that you read in Arabic. Nothing is like it, right?
Very different from the Bible. The Bible is a story. The Quran, especially when I listen to the recitations by sheikhs. Man, it's not the same. Not the same at all. When I read the name of the surah.
Do you know any of the verses, what they were saying? And I'll probably help you with the name.
No, the issue is that I actually started memorizing them without wanting to.
Exactly. Look, why you just say something that is so beautiful now? Why? Because Allah says in the Quran, وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. We have made the Quran easy for memorization, that you don't even need to put effort.
Incredible.
You just listen to the Quran as a Christian and you memorize it, I
didn't put any effort into it. There are a lot of verses in the Bible that I didn't memorize, especially in the New Testament. But I think I put effort into memorizing those verses. When I was just listening to the Quran, I was like, okay, Surah Al-Baqarah. Okay, I started memorizing it. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه
هدى للمتقين.
هدى للمتقين.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's insane. I could see that.
Yeah. Subhanallah.
SubhanAllah. So anyway, thank you for your time,
No problem.
Muhammad.
No problem. No problem.
Thank you for answering my questions as much as you could, within reason. So yeah, I'll clear up the stage if anybody
No problem.
else
No
wants to
problem.
join.
If you got any other questions, you're welcome to come on. And I believe if you like, I can see sincerity from you. And if this is the case, you're a sincere person, I know Allah will guide you, because Allah Azza wa Jal, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Those who struggle to find us, will guide them our ways. Allah will guide you. If you actually try to find the truth and you do your best, you read, you investigate, I don't have no doubt that you will eventually.
The thing is that I would like, as far as I can tell, Islam appeals, especially when you discuss things surrounding intellect, the brain. God gave us intellect, and in a sense, He gave us this intellect to find Him through it. The Quran many times mentions the wheel albab, الذين يتفكرون في آيات, these kinds of words.
Yes,
God is targeting people who think, who use their brain, who look around them and observe, and they're like, maybe like the idea of being atheist to me is just not even
makes zero sense.
That's way too far off. But that's besides the point. And I did have a lot of issues, for example, especially with the Prophet Muhammad. Early on, but then I saw the videos. It made sense, especially the wars, his marriage to Aisha, all of these things. It's very, very typical Christian problems, which end up being not even an issue because we have those same things. And But being born in the 21st century and being used to the ideas of modernity and liberalism, especially through social media and YouTube and stuff like that. When I first heard about it, I was like, what? How old was she? So, but then I was like, we have improved a lot in the last 1400 years.
You just look like less than 100 years back in Lebanon. You just ask the people the ages that they were getting married.
Lebanon is a different story, brother.
Even other than Lebanon, even in any other place, Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, just 100 years ago, you'll ask your great grandmother or someone's grandmother today.
I know, but I was born. Again, surrounded by these ideas, and a point to be made, the Western propaganda machine is very strong, especially here in Lebanon. A lot of the people, especially my age, they think like Westerners, age of consent is 18 and stuff like that, even though the Lebanese constitution says there is no age of consent. I was like, where did we get the number 18 from? It's like, from,
let me surprise you with something now. If Prophet Muhammad والسلام, was alive today, in the USA, he
would abide by the rules of the land.
Right? No. He can legally get married. He can legally do the same marriage.
You mean in certain states?
Yes, in more than half the states, in 2/3 of the states.
Again, this is the.
So let alone 1,400 years. There's a separation between the age of marriage and age of consent. Marriage has no limit age with parental consent in 2/3 of the states. So those people who come, they talk even today. Muhammad is alive today. You'd be able to, under your law, he's able to get married if he wanted to get married, legally.
That's the inconsistency in the messaging. And my friends who, again, I told you about Christians living in Europe, I looked at the consent laws there. And my friend, one of them is living in Poland. Very, very ultra-conservative Christian country. But I looked at the consent laws. He was talking about, the Prophet married a young girl. I told him, consent laws in Poland, your white, ultra-Christian, 21st century European nation, 14.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, is it that big of a jump?
The Americans will call him what he calls the prophet. The Americans will call him the same.
I don't like using that word to describe anybody, much less like prophet of a major religion.
It's a new word that was even just used in the 19th century. It was not used for a reason because this was the practice of the people. It's newly introduced into and newly pushed around because in the West they have this issue. That's why they try to compare marriage with intercommunication before marriage. We don't have this rubbish. They have this problem. That's why they're trying to put it on the Muslims,
it is seeping into the Arab world كمان, especially here.
Yeah.
Even in the Muslim community, it's a pretty
true.
well-known thing. يعني أنا بالأخير I have the privilege of being the target audience that you are seeking.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do look around me. You know, I have friends from different religions. I have Druze friends. I have Christian friends, obviously. I have Muslim friends. I'm friends with everybody. But at the same time, because of this, and I like cause they know that I don't have any, like, it's not part of my identity, the idea of religion. I like to discuss it as an abstract concept. They tell me about the problems that they face within their own communities. And I think that this is a consistent problem.
Yes.
Maybe it is something worth noting. You know, if a Muslim has an issue with his religion, he can come and ask, you know, a da'i or somebody of knowledge.
It should be. That's how it should be. That's how it should be. But you know, it's not. But if this is how it should be, this is how it was at the time of the Prophet. Women and men, both of them, they used to come and complain about their everything, their lives, their own husband, their children, and everything. Whatever was there was asked. So asking the people of knowledge was there in the earliest generations. But today is not as much. Unfortunately, which it should be. You have to ask the people of expertise. When you get a tummy ache, you don't go to your friend, you go to the doctor. So I don't know with the religion. With the religion, people go to anyone, you know? Like they just ask the questions. So
okay. بما انه هلا I just remembered something. هلا يسوع, Jesus in Islam, obviously you don't call him Yeshua, you call him Isa. Isa al-Masih. Like, I look at the New Testament. I like a lot of the things that Jesus says that may or may not be true. I'm about it. Especially after all of this stuff that I was reading. I feel like a lot of it makes sense that he said it, and I don't want to abandon that.
What is it that is true? What is it that is true? That is good.
I don't know.
Bring one thing that is good. That is good. That is not in Islam. This would be a challenge. You know? Find one thing which is good that any religion says that is not already present in Islam.
How do I say this? At the end of the day, Muslims don't follow Jesus; they follow Muhammad.
We follow Jesus as well. We follow Jesus as well. We follow all the prophets.
Not really.
No. But this is the thing, Andrew. This is the thing, Andrew. You're saying. No. When you say you follow Jesus, the question is this: your perception of Jesus is based on a scripture which is not preserved, which is not accurate historically, in order for you to say this is how Jesus lived. So when you make a distinction between what we follow and we don't follow, you're basing that on something which is not historically accurate to begin with, and you think we're not following that. Yes, we're not following an inaccurate historical event or idea or history of how Jesus lived his life. We follow what the true Jesus was upon. That's why Allah Azza wa Jal says, أولئك الذين هدى الله, about talking about the prophets and the messengers. فبهداه مقتدى. So we follow their guidance, and this is the.
You follow their guidance, but at the same time, technically, you don't follow the Injil, you don't follow the Tanakh or Torah, Zabur, the Psalms. The Quran technically is these books, but at the same time, not these books because it is preserved. It's something.
No, it's different. And whatever historically.
It's not the same. I'm not saying that it is. But here, let's say the Jews, they pray 3 times a day. The Muslims, they pray 5 times a day. Both fast. Both celebrate. Not really the Jews, but again, it's both. I definitely see myself. In the religion. It's just gonna be a way of trying to I don't know. I accept it. Let's say like I already accept the tenets and everything. Just to practice part that I'm just gonna have a problem with this. Inshallah. Little by little, these things happen.
It should be good, inshallah. It should be good. I see you there, so there's nothing to worry about, inshallah. Okay, I'll let you go, Andrew. But it was nice talking to you. If you got any questions, you're welcome to come back. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem.